ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome Prophetess DeWanna Moore to Church Girl Talk. It's been
Hello,
such
everyone.
a long time since we had a chance to just talk. Let our hair down, just talk.
Yes, it
So how have you
has.
been, my girl?
Woo! You know what? I've been good. I've been really good. Things have picked up for me.
Okay.
Well, as you know, I'm in school. I'm getting my doctoral degree, and
Okay.
I work a full-time job. To God be the glory.
Yes.
And I'm traveling more, doing ministry more. So I'm good. Things have picked up, but to God be the glory.
Yeah.
I'm excited for what he's doing.
Yes.
And I've been great.
Yes. I've been
How
watching
about
you,
you?
girl. Me, far as on my end, I'm still like trying to make some shake, girl. I'm still doing movies. Just trying to make something work. Right now, work is just my film production. That's it. That's all I have right now for work. Yeah, but I'm
That's
not
how it's
complaining
supposed to
because
be, though.
moves are being made.
They are. God is going to increase your morale at
Yeah,
the right time.
yeah, I believe it. I truly believe it. I believe
He is. He's going to do it. And that's so funny because last week, I think it was last Thursday,
it. Mm-hmm.
I was driving in my car. I was leaving work. I was on a little break from work, but for me, I was leaving because I was done once I took my break. But I posted a video and I was saying how that I believe that in this season that God was increasing so many people's morale. And with increased morale comes another level of faith,
Mm-hmm.
another level of submission.
Woo.
And you're really stepping into like an unknown state and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But with increased morale comes another level of grace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna happen.
Oh
Whenever
yeah.
God increases your morale, even the more, He's gonna give you the grace to be able to fulfill every assignment in your studio, in your production, in your
Yes.
writing,
Yes.
that He's called you to do. So just
Yes.
take it slow for now. Cause you finna be all gas, no brakes in a minute. So just
I receive it
take
and
it
I
slow.
believe it, girl. I believe it.
Take it slow.
All right. So my first question to you is: can you tell us when you first realized you had a calling on your life?
That's a good question. I think I think growing up as a child, like people would always tell me, I can remember being as old as 4, and people would tell me, God is going to use you in a mighty way. Like you're going to be a prophetess. You're going to preach the word of God. You're going to help people through their deliverance. And I used to be like, me, Duana? No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Just, being honest and transparent.
Right.
But I can honestly say when I really came into the realization that God had a call on my life was when I really died to myself.
Mm,
And I fully submitted to God, and God began to minister to me in supernatural ways that I knew was out of the ordinary.
mm-hmm.
I think it's one thing to know, but it's one thing to be submitted.
Mm,
And even though I always knew from even being a little girl, and God would always bring people across my path to remind me of who I was, because I wasn't submitted to the identity that He had already gave me before I was born, it affected me coming into the realization.
mm.
So if I had to give an age, I would say maybe like 22, 23.
Okay. Okay.
uh, was when I really, really realized, but I didn't fully submit until I was probably like 27.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So that would lead me to my next question to ask: how has your spiritual walk changed your relationship with family and friends?
That's a good question. You know, my spiritual walk has changed my whole life,
Mm.
especially relationships with family and friends, because I'm trying to see how to word this. I know that I've came to a place in God, and
Mhm.
I've came to a place in my walk with God.
Mhm.
But my family and friends, I love them, but I cannot be intertwined with how they live.
Mm. Okay.
So it has required me to separate, because I realized that, some people, you just, even if it's family, you can't take them where you're headed.
Ooh.
And they become a stumbling block or a thorn in your side. And especially when you find yourself like walking into a new era, walking into new things,
Mhm.
like people that you're around, they expect you to still be the person that they knew you to be.
Mhm.
They're not going to a lot of times see you for who God really says that you are.
Mhm.
Like the word of God says that like many prophets, and I don't think it's just prophets or people that have, calls on their life. I think it's people in general. They're not accepted in their hometown.
Mhm.
Like the word of God
Yep.
says that. So
Mhm.
that's evident to when I die to myself,
Mm.
I can't reach back in Egypt when God is calling me to the promised land.
Mm.
So I got to let Egypt go, and I have to reach for new people,
Mhm.
reach for new environments. And for me, it was really, really hard because I had to really like cut people off.
Yeah.
And I remember right before I really fully submitted to God, I had became so uncomfortable around certain people.
Mm.
And I was like, God, is it just me? Am I being judgmental?
Mm.
Um, have I just outgrown these people? And then he started commanding me, like, cut them off.
Mhm.
Separate yourself from this
Yeah.
person. And they didn't understand. They saw it as rejection, betrayal,
Mm.
hurt.
Mhm.
Um, they saw it as abuse. So many things that they labeled it as. But I had to be so submitted to God that even when I didn't want to be separated from people, I
Mhm.
had to trust that it was in his best plan for my life. Um, and that's not easy at all.
Mm-mm.
Um, and I grieved my
Ooh.
former life. I grieved, and people don't talk about that. People don't talk about
Yes.
when you really truly submitted to God, how it's a
Yes.
death walk.
Yes.
It's literally you dying every single day to something,
Yes.
and the emotional responses that you're experiencing during a death.
Mhm.
Like I may not naturally be removed from this earth, but I'm feeling every stage
Yes.
of grief that come from the separating
Yes.
from the old and coming into the new.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they saw it as, oh, she just cold, but they didn't see like the tears and the grief and the pain
Yes.
that I had to endure to make
Mhm.
decisions that will impact my life
Mhm.
ahead.
Yep.
So it was hard. It was hard, and it's still hard. I mean, because even now, um, I find myself as I go higher in God, still having to readjust,
Mhm.
still having to separate, having
Yep.
to disconnect.
Yep.
Um, and then as I've elevated, my discernment has increased.
Mm.
So as my discernment has increased, God is showing me more, giving me foresight on more things, which is like, okay, God, I really was hoping that this person was gonna be different. But he's like, I'm showing you now so you can already know. I'm
Yeah.
putting an end to this before it gets started.
Mhm.
So it was hard. It was
Yeah.
hard. It's literally places like that I can't even go, that my family, they
Yeah.
be at. And I can't go because I'm like, I don't do what they do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's friends that I love them to death, but it's like I can't be halted between two opinions. Like I can't be contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be telling people God is calling you to holiness, but then I'm around unclean things. You know,
Mm.
holiness is pure.
Right.
So, girl, it's a daily decision. It's a daily death,
It is.
honestly.
It is. And we don't talk about this process enough. Like, when we going through this process. Cause it's most definitely when you said grieve, it's grieving, girl. It's like, what? Why nobody talk about this process this part of the process right here?
And it's lonely. It's lonely.
What? Who you telling? And sometimes, and by being on this lonely journey, it'll make you like, it's so easy for you to be like, okay, maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Let me go back and talk to this person. But if God tell you to leave somebody, he gonna make sure you leave that person alone, even if he have to drag you. And he only do this with his chosen ones now. His, the ones that belongs to him. If he tell you to do something, you
Hmm.
don't want to do it. Because trust me, I'm one of the hard head ones. Used to be. I still am a little bit, just a little bit.
Baby, the Lord used to have to knock me between the washer and the dryer. And sometimes he still do. I'm just being honest.
Yes. And it's so funny because, like I said, people don't get to see this part. People just see you like, man, like we see the oil on your life.
They see the grace.
We see you glowing and stuff like that. And people want that favor that you have, but not knowing the process that you had to go through. You didn't ask for this.
Sure did. I literally was just telling God the other day, like, God, like, man, I ain't never had to obtain nothing the easy way. I'm tired of the hard way.
Woo.
Like, people see the grace, they see the glory, but they don't know. I really suffer for this, for real, for real. Like, it wasn't a cakewalk,
Mm.
but you make me look good.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord make me look good.
Mm-hmm.
Cause honey,
You carry it so well. You carry it so well, girl.
that's the grace.
Yep.
That's the grace. I'm telling you, because it's not easy at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
not easy. And especially in our age group.
Yes.
You know, the world has made our age group, made millennials believe that we got time. We don't got time.
Mm-mm.
And it's far and few of us that are really trying to live for God for real, for real.
Yeah.
So it's even rougher when you're trying to, you know, find equally yoked and compatible people,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize, okay, this person, I thought that they love God for real, but they don't. Okay, this person, I thought they was gonna be, you know, a true and genuine friend, but they broken. They ain't even well. How they gonna be my friend and they not
Mm-hmm.
well?
Mm-hmm.
You just so
I
many
get
things.
it. I get it. So how do you deal with the pressure of being young and chosen?
Honestly, I seek wise counsel.
Mm-hmm.
I thank God for my spiritual parents and my spiritual leaders. And I thank God for me having a sounding board. I think that is so important to have wise, mature, sanctified counsel that's really laboring for God for real. And I think that it's so important to have a safe space and a sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
So I deal with my things by going to the people that God has delegated as my safe spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, quite naturally, I'm human. So I have moments where, you know, even though God is processing and pruning and refining me in some areas, I'd be like, all right, I'm sick of this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sometimes I'd be like, Lord, I don't want to necessarily do what people of the world are doing per se. I mean, I've been there, did that, done that, but I want some normalcy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not normal. I mean, not like, you know, in a
Right.
in a crazy way, but
Right. Right.
I'm not normal. Like I can't do what other people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in much prayer, I mean, I pray a lot. I'm very honest with God. I believe that if you're honest and vocal and vulnerable with God, He will meet you where you are.
Mm.
So, I'm very, in my toughest moments, I'm very honest and vocal with God. Um, and the more that I pour out on God, I find that even in my distress, He pours back into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I make that my daily heart posture. Because sometimes we think, oh, God understand me. Why I gotta tell him? He already know. But there's so much freedom and liberty when you release it from your mouth to him. Despite him knowing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's an exchange that happens when you can go to God and say, God, you may know that this is hard for me, but I want to vocalize this to you. And I want to ask you to strengthen and pour back into me and give me understanding and minister to me. And I found that wise counsel, vulnerability with God, and wise sounding boards have been my saving grace through my roughest transitions.
Okay. Okay. Girl, look at you. So, what kind of work do you do within your church and your community?
So I am currently a member of Repairs of the Breach Ministries.
Okay.
Uh, the main church is located in Columbus, Mississippi, but the leaders of the church, which are Pastor Prophetess Cheryl Richardson and Apostle Frank Richardson, they recently opened up a ministry here in Texas, which is where I'm located.
Okay.
So I am walking into the role of the assistant pastor there. So I just kind of pretty much do whatever is needed. Whether that's community outreach, prayer, whether that's preaching the word, whatever. I mean, whatever is needed. It's a growing ministry in this location in Texas, so I'm just yielded to help and build.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I believe that what you make happen for others, God will do the same for you.
Absolutely.
So I'm just yielded to building. As far as in the community, the job that I'm at, I'm grateful that we do like a lot of community outreach to homeless shelters and daycares, boys and girls clubs. But my job itself is a ministry because I am a social worker at a nursing home.
Okay.
So I'm always dealing with and seeing people that are terminally ill. Their families may come in and be down to no resources and not really know what to do. And I really come home a lot of nights and I really labor before God concerning these people
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, Lord, I don't know what to do either.
Yeah.
I may have some of the resources, but what is your plan? Like, how do I provide them with what you desire for them to have? So I just do whatever God, calls me to do at whatever capacity he calls me to do it. And I'm just open to serving. But my main jobs right now are, of course, assisting my spiritual parents, which are the pastors of the
Mm-hmm.
Repairs of the Breach Ministry in Dallas. Then my full-time job.
Okay. Okay. So I recently read a book that called Purpose Driven Life. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the name of it, Purpose Driven Life. And it's a 40-day read. Like you read a chapter a day. So
Okay.
with me, I recently discovered that you mentioned something like you just dare to like whatever you can assist with and serve. I realized one of the things I love to do, because I'm still trying to figure out like what's my calling and exactly what it is God want me to do. And reading that book, I found out that I love serving people. Like I don't want the lights. I can be in the background. I can
Mm-hmm.
do like all the things to assist that person or whoever. Like I love serving.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay, this is a good start somewhere. But I do. I didn't realize how much I enjoy serving others. But at the same time, sometimes like it had cost me heartbreaks, losses,
Absolutely.
people to change up, people to switch up on me.
I think that is so important. And I had to learn this too the hard way. It's not, you can have a server's heart, but it's not about serving, it's about who you serve.
Mm,
Because I can honestly say that my spiritual parents, I've been knowing them since I was probably 11,
mm-hmm,
12, and their heart posture to God has remained the same. And I think that is so many people, so many businesses, so many ministries looking for gifts and looking for servants to intensify their platform.
mm,
So I think that even when yielding yourself to being a server, that you're still guarding your heart and using discernment and wisdom,
true.
because spiritual leeches and vultures is a real thing.
Ooh.
And people are really out there latching on to you for their own spiritual gain. It's
Mm,
a real thing.
mm.
Stealing from people. I mean, I could go on and on, but it's a real thing. And one thing about spiritual leeches and vultures, they can sense purity. They can sniff it out.
Mhm, mhm,
They're not oblivious. I mean, some of the things that I've experienced, I want the first person they did that to probably won't be the
mhm,
last.
mhm.
Um, but I'm telling you, I
I
mean,
get it.
it gets
Yeah,
rough, it gets scary.
yeah.
It does, but I thank God that even in the midst of that, like I never lost my desire to serve.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
sometimes we can,
Yeah,
quite naturally, because we have that
yeah.
wall up, that fence up. Um, but I think serving with intentionality and safety is so important when working with other people. And then two, I find myself always praying and asking people and asking God, am I assigned to serve this person? Because if I'm assigned
Mm,
to serve this person, then you're going to protect me, you're going to grace me, you're going to guard my
mhm,
heart, you're going to shield and cover me. Even
mhm,
when darts and blows are being shot, I'm going to
mhm,
be able to withstand and not be overtaken, because
mhm,
that was my assignment.
mhm,
And even sometimes God has allowed me to be under people that I served that their intent wasn't good for me,
mhm,
but God's intent was for something else for me.
mhm,
So even though I had to deal with some backlash and retaliation and things, God used it to intensify what was on the inside of me.
mhm,
And it's funny that I'm saying this, because as of recently, I know God right now is processing me and has me in some transitions. And Sunday, I was on my way back to Texas from Mississippi. I had to speak at a women's conference. And I was like, God, I was praying and I was in my car and I was talking to God. And I was like, God, you know, right now I'm in an uncomfortable season, but I know that you got me.
mhm,
And he took me to Colossians, where Paul was saying that he began to be joyful in his affliction.
mhm,
And Paul began to find peace in his ridicule. And I was like, okay, God, I know you want me to be joyful in my affliction, but I know you want me to be peaceful in my ridicule. But what are you saying? And he said to me, in your perspective, there's freedom and deliverance when you understand my intent.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa. When I understand your intent, so what is your intent?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I may feel like this person is literally trying to take me out, but God is using this person to elevate my ministry.
Mm-hmm.
That's his intent. Their intent is to destroy me, but
Mm-hmm.
his intent is
Mm-hmm.
to elevate me. I mean, just like Jesus and Judas. Judas' intent was to get rich and to gain wealth.
Right.
Even though he betrayed Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
God's intent was to use Judas to raise Jesus on the cross to
Mm-hmm.
save all our souls.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus had to keep that perspective in his mind,
Mm-hmm.
because the minute that he submitted to his betrayal,
Mm-hmm.
he would not have fulfilled his purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said, boy, that
What's
is
that
good.
scripture is that talks about what you use for harm, God use it for my good. What's
All
that
things
scripture?
work together for the good of them that love the Lord.
I don't
Honey,
think it's that one. It's not that one. But I gotta find that scripture. But it's a scripture that say what you use for harm, God turn around and use it for my good. I'ma find it.
what the enemy meant for evil.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
that one. That
Now, I
one.
can't tell you where it's at,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I gotta
that's
go back
it.
and get that one. Yeah.
That's it. So
Okay,
I'm just
so
in a place where I'm like, Lord, help me to understand your intent.
yes, yes. And when you was talking about assignment, girl, sometimes, and I had to learn the hard way. Everybody's not your assignment, and that be my problem. I be want to help everybody. I be
Say it
wanting
again for the
to
people in
rescue
the back.
everybody, but that's not
Woo!
my assignment. And I come to God crying like this person did this, and he be like, "But did I tell you? But did I tell you? You know?" So everybody is not your assignment.
I'm telling you. I know that's the truth. I will mother somebody to death. I will love them to death. And the Lord be like, Dewana, no, no,
Yep.
no, no. It's okay to love them. It's okay for them to see me through you,
Mhm.
but not at the jeopardy of your heart
Mhm.
and your emotions and your mental.
Mhm.
No, girl, I'm telling you.
I get it. I get it. Okay, so what's your favorite self care activity after a long week of pouring into others?
You know what? My favorite self care activity. I'm a foodie.
Mhm.
So I would literally get on Google or TikTok or even Maps and
Yeah.
find a nice restaurant. I will dress myself up, take myself to get something nice to eat some dessert, come home and go to bed. That'd be my self-care. Like, I would delegate a whole weekend to I'll get up, take myself out to breakfast, do some window shopping. Sometimes I actually shop.
Mhm.
Come back home, rest, go back out to eat. And these are all places I never been.
Okay.
Um, like restaurants I never been. That's one of my self-care activities. And then my other self-care activity is I love taking walks. Um, Sometimes I'll just, even after a long day of work, I'll put my headphones on, I'll walk my dog. Sometimes I'll be out there for hours, girl. Just walking and talking to God. Um, and just resting. Just
Mm.
resting it. And then it helps too because it kind of helps me, stay fit and help my stamina
Right.
and all of that to be up. So food and walking. Those my two
Okay.
favorite self-care.
Okay, so how do you deal with distractions while trying to stay focused on your purpose?
That's a good question. That's a good question. question. Oh my goodness. You know what? That's good. I don't even know how to answer because I deal with them. I deal with distractions in so many ways, and
Mhm.
then it depends on the type of distraction. Because the enemy is always throwing distractions,
Always.
always, every day. You can get rid of one distraction, here come another, here come
Mhm.
another, here come another.
Mhm.
I mean, as soon as you close one door, here come another
Mhm.
distraction. Um, Honestly, I deal with distractions through isolation and prayer. Especially when I'm getting hit with a lot of distractions at one time. I really will like isolate myself, withdraw myself from everything outside of what is my day-to-day things that I have to do. And I'll just sometimes I just pray and I'll just be like, Lord, I know is a distraction. Help me
Mhm.
to stay focused. Help me to stay on task. Help me to be like a deer in headlights. Not to look to the left, not to look to the right, but to keep my mind stayed on you.
Mhm.
Um, that's mainly how I deal with distractions, prayer and isolation. Because I feel like the more that I seclude myself, the less that I'm a target for distractions.
Mhm.
Um, Whether that's coming off of social media. Sometimes, honestly, I'll take a day off of work and just kind of cut my phone off and
Mhm.
just have my worship music on and just pray or fast or journal or just kind of recenter myself. Um, Most of the times, distractions be people.
Mhm.
The enemy will use people. Girl, I'll block a person in a minute. I'm telling you, I'll block, unfollow. Especially when I can for sure pinpoint that it's a distraction. I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't got time. So,
Yeah.
but mainly just prayer,
Okay.
mainly.
Okay. So, what would you say to a young woman who feels like she's too far gone to be used by God?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I would say that God is truly a redeemer, and we are never too far to be touched by God. Um, and despite what we think, God graces us every day that we have breath in our body to start over.
Mhm.
And sometimes that start comes with a lot of stumbles. Um, but I would say never feed into the voice of the enemy, because that is the enemy that's making a person think that they're so unclean, that they're so bound to the world that they can't have a relationship with God.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that once a person yields their ear to the voice of God and make the daily decision and the daily choice to submit to God, then they begin to see that they never were too far all along. That
Mhm.
everything that happened up to that point led them closer to God. And I think that a lot of people too don't come to God and don't submit to God because they really have that thought. They
Mhm.
have that internalizing belief. Um, and I think that is so important to know the characteristics of God and to really learn God and learn that his grace is sufficient.
Mhm.
Um, and just, also learn the enemy, because the enemy gonna always make you think that you're too far from God
Always.
because he
Yes.
wants to be the ruler of your soul.
Mhm.
And people don't realize that it's easy to stay in sin, but it's hard to get out. People
Mhm.
think when they make the declaration out of their mouth, okay, I'm gonna live for God, everything is just gonna stop.
Right.
Because you was married to the devil.
Right.
Like you literally belong to him
Mm-hmm.
at some point in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And he not just gonna say, okay, well, you wanna love God now, bye. See you later.
Not that easy.
No, he gonna fight you and tell you you unworthy, you unclean.
Yeah.
God don't want nothing to do. Even myself, I experienced that at a point in my life where I really was making a turn in my life and I was really reaching for God. And I remember literally some nights the enemy would torture and torment me in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Don't reach out to your pastors. They don't want to hear from you. Don't call on God. God hates you. You know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really had to fight through those voices. And I really had to pray and I really had to ask God to arrest me, to keep my mind. I had to keep reaching out to people that was able to tell me that's a lie, don't submit to that. God sees you another way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the more that I tried to submit, the harder the enemy swung.
Mm-hmm.
The harder he hit back, which, that built my stamina. And that made me into a prayer and an intercessor. But in that moment, you don't see those things. You just see, okay, well, I'm fighting and the enemy fight me harder. So is this true? But one thing that I tell people, the Bible says that the enemy is the father of lies.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he's not capable of telling the truth. He created
Right.
lies. If
Mm-hmm.
he's the father,
Mm-hmm.
he is the creator.
Mm-hmm.
He bursts out lies. So anything that he's telling you, if he's telling you that you're too far from God, you right where God wants you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever he tells you, you think the opposite of that. And it's so important to be cultivated by women that can see you beyond how you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, as women, we be so drowned in the world and drowned in our sin and
Yes.
drowned in our past life. And especially when we are around women that's all they think of their self,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to stay in that mentality. But it's so important to be around like-minded women that can say, hey, and that really saved my life. Being around women that was like, hey, Dewana, God sees you as this. Even when I didn't see myself as that, even when I submitted to the voice of the enemy, God will always send someone to remind me
Mm-hmm.
of who he called me to be and that I can get on the right track
Yes.
and that I was able to break patterns and I was able to go through my deliverance and I was able to overcome. Um, so I say never give up, never submit to what the enemy is saying. um, know that God is for you, and if He is for you, nothing in the world can be against you,
Yes.
and there's nothing that you have done that could ever separate you from the love of God. Nothing,
Mm-hmm.
no sin. It's nothing that you can do that is so shameful to God that He would deny you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing, nothing in this world,
Right.
and that He can use anybody that He desires to use.
Anybody. Mm-hmm.
Anybody. So I just say, just keep fighting the good fight and just know that you're loved by God. And affirmations, it's a real thing. It really helps.
Yeah.
Um, I used to tell some of my clients when I was doing individual counseling, write something good about yourself every day and post it on your mirror. And when you look in the mirror, if you got to read this to yourself every day till you
Mm-hmm.
believe it and until it comes into full manifestation, you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fall subject to what is in your head. And
Right.
you have power, even in your weakness, to command those spirits to come out of your
Yeah.
head and to
Mm-hmm.
stop lying to you and to stop feeding you false hopes and false dreams and stop trying to give you a false identity.
That was
That's what I
good,
would
girl.
say.
That was good. That was good. I enjoyed you, and I was like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule just to come talk to me, this little church
Thank
girl.
you, girl. Thank you. I'm so grateful, and I'm so honored, and I just thank God. I'm just going with the flow of whatever He wants to do, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited. I'm excited for even what God has in store for you, and
Thank
I'm excited to see Church
you.
Girl Talk go global. I mean, so many women, coming on sharing their stories, even men.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just excited. I'm grateful. I know that this will be the start of many things that God is going to do for you.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm
Thank you.
excited. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And, I don't take it lightly, even to be asked to, come on. I'm not a natural talker, believe it or
Yeah.
not. I'm really very introverted, but I can be extroverted when I have to be.
Yeah.
Um, so I really am grateful. I'm thankful. I'm honored to be amongst one of God's greatest gifts and one of His greatest creatives. And I think it's so amazing just what you're doing, how you're yielding yourself to God,
Thank
and
you.
your labor is not in vain. I'm telling you,
Ooh, thank
it's not in vain. This is the start of many, many more
you.
episodes, many more movies, many more books, many more series, scripts. And I'm just glad, I'm just glad that God allowed me to come on here, even in the birthing stages.
Mm.
Um, and I just thank God, and I just pray that God continues to birth you even into your full capacity. Because this is just only the beginning. And that every baby, every gift, every
Yes.
idea that God gives you, that it expounds
Yes.
beyond what you can even imagine or what you can even comprehend or think. And God is going to do major. I mean, even before I came on today, I heard the Lord say, the female Tyler Perry.
I receive it.
I heard the Lord say that.
Ooh,
The
Lord
female
Jesus.
Tyler Perry.
I receive
But
it.
you're going to do greater works. You're going to do greater works than him, and you're going to do kingdom work.
Yeah.
It's a difference in creating scripts and really doing the work of God and really building the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And just know this is your purpose. This is your
Yes.
platform.
Yes.
You may feel like, well, God, what is my purpose? This is your purpose. This
Mm-hmm.
is your platform. This is how
Yes.
God is going to use you,
Okay.
in
Uh-huh.
unconventional ways,
Mm-hmm.
because we got to get beyond the four walls of the church
Ooh,
to
yeah.
save souls.
Yes.
In your script, in your podcast, in
Mm-hmm.
your TED talk, may
Mm-hmm.
bring somebody into deliverance,
Yeah.
even though it's not in the four walls of a church.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be your purpose, being out in the community, creating.
Mm-hmm.
And God is going to even begin to download more creative genes into your mind, to where you're not even going to be able to step foot into a typical 9 to 5 job.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is going to be your 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm. I receive it.
So I truly believe that. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be on here, and I'm excited to see what God is going to do and how he's going to really birth this into full manifestation, into a full studio
Right.
where people are literally going to be coming in and flying in, to
Mm-hmm.
sit in your midst and to, glean from you. Because you may think, well, God, I'm inviting these people on. I'm gleaning from them. They gleaning from you. So I'm excited. I'm grateful. I'm so thankful, and I don't take it lightly. And I don't take anything that God tells me to do. I always pray about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't ever take it lightly. Um, because God can use anybody. It's millions of
Yeah.
people all over the world. But for Him to use me in any way, I always see it as an honor because I be feeling like, well, Lord, I'm unworthy. Who
Mhm.
am I to be talking to somebody?
Mhm.
But to God be the glory.
Yes, yes,
God be the glory.
yes. Well, thank you all for tuning in with me and Prophetess Dawana Moore. It has been a blessing.
It has been a blessing.
Yes. Until next time.